What's up, y'all? It's your girls, Doe and Mo, and we're back with episode 5 of the Rooted Life podcast. We're so excited to see y'all again. If you're new here, then welcome. What you really need to know is that we're two best friends of over 15 years who love Jesus and love helping women thrive in their relationships with God, themselves, and others by focusing on, of course, faith and well-being.
Yep. And this whole season is around change, the change we have to navigate as people in careers, families, relationships. And last episode, we talked about the change that we experience in our place of employment. And you said something good that really dragged me all week around how, like, my season at work is preparation and how it's, like, important. How I show up in work is important. Like, it's good stewardship. So, that drugged me.
It's crazy how you be saying things and then you hear somebody else say it and you're like, oh, that's for me. That's for me. So hearing you say that again, even though I said it, I'm hearing you and I'm like, that's a really good reflection. And I'm like, oh, that's helpful. Good reminder for myself.
Good stewardship.
Because I don't know that I went through my week at work coming off that episode acting that way. So thank you for that reminder.
Thank you. Thank you, Holy Spirit.
Yeah, really the Holy Spirit.
Any reflections for you from last episode?
On work. It is occupying a lot of my time. So I've been thinking about it a lot. But I think the one thing that I'm remembering is like how we set the temperature at work.
That was a good line.
Being like the thermostat, not the thermometer. So not just reading how everybody else is, but recognizing that like you have a real opportunity at work to kind of set the tone for everything, really, you know.
Facts.
Like if you see people are in a little bit of a mood, maybe you come in with a little bit of positivity. Just realizing that responsibility too sometimes.
Yeah, I don't know if I did that well this week, so now I feel red.
Go back and get that episode.
Yeah, y'all need to listen to that. And then today, this might be the episode I'm most excited about. I think I said that first episode, but today we're talking about our bodies as 30-year-old Christian women. And I'm really excited to I don't see a lot of podcast episodes talk about women's bodies outside of the male gaze or like purity or modesty, which, you know, no shade, any of that stuff. It's important and relevant. But I'm excited to talk about how we feel in our bodies for us. And I think that's going to be beautiful.
Can't wait. Well, something else I'm excited about.
Tell me, girl.
Pulse Check. Our baby.
Truly our baby.
So Pulse Check is our new relationship card game that we're super excited about. It's designed to spark meaningful conversations, help people build deeper connections, and really kind of came out of our friendship at a time where we were struggling to get through a rough patch. I mean,
it wasn't good.
We just couldn't really figure out like how to reconnect. And so Pulse Check is kind of a result of that, helping people not only bring relationships back together, but really helping you not drift so far apart in the first place. So it is available now. Our Kickstarter has launched, and so you can support Pulse Check today and get your own little deck. Okay, so look at the link in our bio.
Yep.
And now, glows and grows, Mo.
Glows and grows. Let's see. Let's start with the grow, and then we'll move to a glow. My grow is just continuing to say yes to God.
Okay. That's the grow.
That's a grow.
Okay.
I feel like I am a toddler in the faith.
It'd be like
I feel like people can see you online and be like, "Ooh, you must be a giant." I'm a child. Like I feel like I feel like I'm having temper tantrums a lot.
Oof.
About things that I asked him for.
Right. It'd be what we asked for.
Things that I've worshipped and said in lyrics. And he's like, okay, so like, let's do it. And I'm like, let's not do that. So I had a few temper tantrums this week about some things he wanted me to do.
That's all right.
I'm like, I think you called the wrong number. I think you meant a different Morgan. I don't think you meant me. No, not my government. There's no way. So, it's been really humbling this week. Just saying yes to God and meeting it and going through that, like that tension and that wrestling with him. All right, like we're really about to say yes to this new thing that I've never done. You just, okay. That's all I can do. It's just let's just do it. So there's a little bit of some temper tantrum there, but we're making it. Okay. I think my glow is just going back to therapy.
That's great.
I love therapy. Well, not in the moment. In the moment, I'll be like, my therapist, I think that's she hates people. Me. And I don't know why she's talking to me crazy.
Yeah.
She don't be talking to me crazy. She just be telling me about my issues. So I'm proud of myself for going back. And I found like the first therapist I went to was really good. But this one is also like faith-based. So she talk about God and she just be reading me. I told her, I was like, you got a gifting, girl. Like this is, you doing what you, I don't know if you ever questioned
good.
You're doing what you're supposed to do. And she said, thank you. I'm like, no, I'm for real. This is it. Good. This is it, girl.
Yeah.
So proud of myself for going back, being consistent, applying what we're learning. We're going to leave it at that.
That's good. That's great. I love it.
She wrote.
I love all of that, and really resonate with that first one about the temper tantrums. Because literally, I was like yelling in the house today, just talking to God. I'm like, I don't understand what you're doing.
You ever seen a kid like at the mall when they don't want to leave and the parent has to like kind of drag a kid out? That's the visual I have of God leading me to things he's calling me to.
Yeah.
I'm not like the mature teenager just like, all right, let's just, what's up? Like almost like nonchalant, like it's whatever. Let's just do it.
Yeah.
I'm the kid that can't leave the mall and is screaming because they couldn't get the toy they wanted.
I think I literally said out loud this week, I said, you know what? I just think I don't want to. That's what I said out loud. And then I began to think through how I could maybe get out of it. I'm like, is there a way to maybe bypass all of what I see coming ahead? And he's like, that's not really how it works. So, yeah. Resonates deeply.
Okay, great.
My glows and grows.
Tell us.
So, grow. I just have a tendency to judge everything. Everything. Like you see something, it's like, I don't like that. This doesn't taste good. Why do they do that way? And it's just like my own opinion is just constantly like running out of me all the time. And sometimes even just in my head, but just recognizing that like you're just constantly judging everything. And that's not really my place. It's really not my place to be judging anything.
Yikes.
And so that's a grow for me of just like, you know what? Let's stop doing all the judging. Because like, for what reason? You know what I mean? And to what end? Because then you do it on one thing and then you just do it on everything. Yeah. And you find oftentimes when you're judging, it's not like a positive reflection. Like, I really love how they chose to look different today. You're usually saying something negative. And so I've just realized that like that's just not the heart and the character that I want to have toward not only people, but everything that I see. And so that'll be something I'm working on. And then my glow, just not hitting snooze. I've been like really proud of myself for, you know what? If I set the alarm, let's go ahead and get up. I throw those legs over the edge of the bed just to like, get yourself up. Because if I like lay there, then I will fall back asleep.
Immediately.
I know y'all know.
That's
like you,
my favorite
and
sleep.
then you wake up and you're like, now what time is it?
That's the craziest time warp.
It's the funniest
It's
experience.
like I only close my eyes for a minute, 20 minutes
1
later.
minute, yeah.
I don't understand.
It happened this morning.
But it'd be the best sleep though, I'm gonna be honest.
It
that
really
little snooze sleep.
Quick little snap.
It different.
That's a little nap. But yeah, so not hitting snooze has been a little glow in my life.
Okay, that's actually very impressive.
Yeah,
cannot relate, but love that for you.
Thanks.
One day, perhaps, for me. I don't know.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
All right.
Not today, though. Okay, so today we're talking about our bodies. I'm excited to dive into this conversation. We've talked about our bodies. Like, this isn't the first conversation we've had in our podcast about our bodies. Yeah. But this might be the first one that has been just centered, I think.
I think so.
In 9 seasons?
Yeah, I think so.
Special. Okay.
I think so.
So what stands out to you as you think about the changes you've experienced in your body? Kind of walk us through that.
I mean, what stands out to me is I was just reflecting on how much women are taught to think about, obsess over, consider their appearance.
Talk about
like how I have like a really distinct moment I remember in college of a girlfriend talking to me, and it was like, we're just sitting in her like dorm room chatting, and I remember her sharing with me what her mother had instilled in her, just about like before, like when you're getting in the bed, you should still have makeup on because like no man wants to see you without makeup, and like making sure that your hair, like just needing to look good at all times, even when you are supposed to be in like your home in a place of comfort and resting.
You can't even really rest.
And with a person who like can see beyond your appearance anyway. And I was just like, I'm listening to her and I'm just like, this sounds crazy. But it also then made me be like, oh my God, I need to be like looking good all the time. So nobody's going to want me if I'm ever like without a beat face or like my hair looks. So it just was like, I just remember that moment so distinctly because I remember that she was reflecting on how her mother had instilled that in her. And so here she is going through life as a young woman, believing that she needs to kind of sustain this look of perfection at all times to be loved and cared for by somebody else. And that's just so dangerous, I think, to our psyche as women.
Yeah.
And then also just kind of reflecting on like how we tend to compare so much about what it is that we should look like in any given time, instead of being more curious about like our own selves and like how we present. So we get caught up on like, oh, she's doing this for her body, so I need to be doing this for mine if I want to look like her. And it's just, we're inundated, I think, with like the message that we need to look good at all at all times, and with the comparison of what good even is, like what that baseline even is. We're constantly being like overwhelmed by that. So yeah, this conversation is just
deep already.
I know it is. I
didn't know it was going to get this deep.
I wasn't expecting that either, but I think it's just important to talk about this because so much of it is just ingrained in us.
It is.
And if you don't have the discussion, you won't even realize how maybe you're going in a direction that is not necessarily the healthiest for your mind or body.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about how so much of my childhood I was taught about how my body looked and was perceived by boys and men. I wasn't really talked about like, oh, like I don't remember any like advice or messaging around me just enjoying my body. For me, it was like, don't wear tight. I remember specifically my mom was like, don't wear tight jeans because men are going to look at your butt. Don't do this for men, do this for men. Like it was so much around like the way I perceived myself was through the male gaze. So it's not even that out in the world. It's like even when you're at home, you're thinking about how a man is going to perceive you, and you're at home by yourself, and you still have to be, we've been socialized that everything I do is about how is a man going to see me. I remember my grandma was like, you're not going to find a husband if you don't wear heels and you go to the grocery store. What I look like in Tradarius in heels? In Trader Joe's.
What? Is that what you call Trader Joe's?
Yeah.
Tradarius?
Yeah, my friends do. I think it's so funny.
Who does that?
My friend said it, and I just can't stop saying it.
Tradarius?
I think it's hilarious. Yes.
Not y'all done blackified the name.
Yeah, we had to because it's funny.
That's actually hilarious.
Very funny.
I'm like, who's Tradarius?
Trader Joe's. You know black people don't have no chill. Why would we call it Trader Joe? Why would it be a Joe and it could be a Tradarius?
Yeah. Okay, anyways.
Anyways, yeah, my grandma was like, you got to wear heels to the grocery store if you want to get a husband.
Oof.
I'm not. I told her I won't be doing that.
That's crazy work.
That's a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
Who wants to perform all the time? There's this episode of Fresh Prince years ago where Tisha, is that her name? Who was on Martin? Tisha Campbell?
Yeah.
And I remember, do you ever remember that episode? It was like a hurricane, and then she had to take off everything. She had wigs, nails, lashes, everything. And he was like, whoa.
Yeah,
I think
like,
about
who
that
is this?
because eventually you do have to show your real self.
You do.
You could put as much makeup on as you want, but eventually the real you has to be revealed.
Yeah. And when the real you is revealed, do you want people to be like, because they haven't seen you? You know what I mean? Like that, I think to just consider that, like, if you never show yourself, then people won't even really know what you look like.
And that's not even just like physically.
That's
like internally
within,
too. Yeah, because also if you're spending so much time on your external appearance, how much time are you spending on your internal appearance?
You can't spend.
And I'm worried that we have a society and we're creating this culture of women who are so obsessed with their external appearance that we're not doing any work to be the woman of God has called us to be.
Yeah.
And that's a real, I mean, like the danger is,
I
can't even.
There's no character work.
None.
Yeah. That's crazy.
That's just question number one. Question number one, y'all. Okay, I think for me, I said it earlier, but just thinking about how much of what we're taught, particularly as like in the church as girls, are about like having to help men control their unsatiable desire for women and their lust. And I'm not saying that like people have challenges, all that is real, but it was always like, well, don't wear this because men will think this. Don't do this because men. It was so much, women. Or even I mean, even modesty and purity was all around helping men because they can't seem to control themselves. It's like such an unhelpful narrative for men and like for girls and boys. But I just think this conversation is important to think about again. How do I feel about my body? Not thinking about anybody's gaze but my own. And maybe even think about God's gaze towards me. Like that should be the primary factor. Like what does God see when he looks at me? And how can I let that transform how I see myself internally and externally? Yeah. Outside of anyone else's perception of me. Because what I think about myself does matter. And what God thinks about me matters the most.
Yeah, it matters
and so how do I reorient my perception and how I see myself internally and externally to align with how the creator of the universe sees me? More than what some guy on the street says.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's just important. And I think, too, we were talking about this, I think the first episode of the season, just like how much we're bombarded with messages about changing our bodies.
Yes, that something is wrong with it to begin with.
Get this thing for your lips. Like, I'm surprised at the amount of women I know that have gotten work done. And that's no shade. We're not judging anybody. Because in my head, I'm like, these were to me, particularly in college, someone who I thought was like the epitome of beautiful. I'm like, now these women right here. untouchable. And I'm like, and they got work done.
Yeah.
And I'm just kind of surprised, but I know they must feel pressured, especially if you're in the public eye.
Yes,
and you,
to maintain.
You feel a lot of pressure to change your appearance to meet this standard of beauty that is going to continue to evolve. So you always have to keep changing yourself because that standard keeps changing.
Yeah.
So I think I'm also just surprised at the messaging and surprised at how like people who I perceive to be like drop dead gorgeous are also feeling that pressure and internalizing that too.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's real. We're all having a similar experience, but starting at different levels, you know? So it's like I'm looking at you being like, dang, that's what I want to be. And you're looking at somebody else still wanting to change yourself. And that's the part that I think can sometimes be disheartening. Like when you have the conversation about feeling comfortable and like just proud of how you look and who you are and your appearance. It can be hard to really embrace and like love yourself fully.
It can.
What do you think has been surprising about like your own, the changes that you've experienced in your own body, and how's that shaping like how you're becoming, who you're becoming?
I know that I'm still on the petite and small side, so I don't want to be on camera being like, I think I'm a big girl. I know I'm little. But the waistline, I thought would always be snatched.
Be a certain type of little.
I thought, I'm going to be honest with y'all, I thought I was going to be exempt from all the body changes because I've always been literally this. I've been like 90. I remember when I hit 100 pounds specifically in my 20s. That's how little. I just have always been a little woman. I've been little.
Yeah.
Then when the waist started changing, I said, that was the jeans. It was the pandemic that got me. It was those hash browns I was eating for breakfast. None of my jeans could fit. And I asked Dorian.
I remember this conversation vividly.
I saw myself on camera because I was doing something for church. I said, do you think I look like bigger?
Now, y'all.
She didn't want to answer.
I had to be honest.
She did not want to answer. She was like, I don't.
Yeah, one of the scariest moments is when your friend honestly asks you, how do you think about how I'm looking right now? Am I bigger? And then you have to respond with the truth and say, well, and then that's all you got to say. And they're like, oh, no.
I remember you had a fleece on your couch and I just curled under a blanket.
I was like, it had to be said, though. You asked, and so now you know. You know what I mean?
And again, it wasn't the weight that was the issue.
Yeah.
I think I was just surprised at it. But really what had happened is that I had eaten whatever I wanted all of my life.
Correct.
I could eat hash browns for breakfast every day and be fine. But when I got to my late 20s and 30s, you can't just be eating carbs. I would literally have hash browns and grits for breakfast, like, and biscuits during the pandemic. That's just carbs on top of carbs on top of carbs. And our gym was closed. So I'm not saying like, I think I just was surprised at how my body has changed because I really thought I was going to be exempt. I just surprised.
You thought you would be good forever.
Yeah. And I like the way my body looks now. I just was surprised when it started to change. And I'm like, that size jeans don't, and that size jeans don't, okay, we're going up to this size, okay, I guess it just was surprising. It kind of caught me off guard, but it really was the pandemic that jump-started some changes in my body. And I turned 30 during the pandemic too, so I recognized, some natural changes happened, but it really was my diet. I can't keep eating carbs on top of carbs and then be surprised when I like cannot get into my jeans. I can't even get into a leg. I had jeans stopping at my kneecap. I said, now what is this?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think thinking about that surprise, I'm always surprised about how many people in their like 40s, 50s and up, they literally like talk about the 20s and 30s as like the most defining decades as it relates to your health as you're getting older. Now, you can always like start later. I remember my mom got really into walking during the pandemic and like lost a ton of weight and all the things. Like you can always shift. But I'm just always surprised. I never considered the 20s and 30s to be the setup years.
I did not.
I kind of thought that like, the 40s and 50s maybe set you up on the back end, but it's really the 20s and 30s.
You're right.
I think that, that people are telling me when I'm like, hey, wiser woman, like what's some advice that you have? They're like, you need to start working out now while you're in your 30s. And you need to start like getting your diet together and being mindful about the things that you eat, et cetera. And so I think that was the thing that was most surprising to me. Like I'm in the years right now that will matter for the latter years of my life.
Yeah.
And then just also thinking about like, I went on a family trip. This was one of the Christmases over the pandemic.
I remember.
And I remember my grandmothers were really struggling to like keep up on the trip. And, sometimes like as you're getting older, you get older, but then you're not really connecting that like your family's getting older.
That shocks me.
That is another big surprise.
My sister and I have had a big discussion recently about our aunt's ages. We were talking about, she was like, she's 70. I said, ain't no way she's 70.
Right.
She got to be, what, 45? She's like, Morgan.
I know.
She's 70. I'm like, when that happened?
Yeah.
Shocking.
So as you're watching them age too, and we were on this family trip, and I remember, you know, I typically am the person with the family who plans all the things. No surprise there. And I was like, oh, they have this long like road. We were in Tennessee. They have this street that like has all these different attractions and activities and restaurants. I'm like, we'll just literally walk the strip that day, go to the different attractions, Ripley's, the aquarium, and like all that kind of stuff. And towards the like middle of the end of the day, like my grandmother just could not keep walking with us. And it wasn't even really like a ton, but I remember thinking to myself like, oh, this is a reflection of like what happens as you age if you're not in a position to be able to kind of take care of yourself leading up to that time. And so I think that recognition around aging, how that can impact your body, has shaped like who I'm becoming in thinking about like sustainability and longevity now. And so just being more mindful about my decisions now, instead of like waiting till some future moment where I start to feel bad to be like, let me get myself together, but being more preventative, I think, is what has my like fitness and body journey has become now.
Yeah, and I think even just thinking about like our grandmother, something I was thinking about as you were talking is like they didn't have the capacity, the time, or the permission to take care of themselves the way we get to as millennial women. Like my grandmother like integrated several of her jobs. Like she'd work and she'd come home and she'd make a whole meal and a pie and had an infant and had a husband and was a teacher and was in school. Like they did not have nearly as much freedom in a lot of ways to even be able to go to the gym. Can you imagine a woman in the 50s just going to the gym? They probably had to wear heels. Like it probably would be the most ridiculous of full. Can't you see them? They probably had to be beat at the gym looking crazy. But like there weren't like, I don't think women were going, there probably weren't gyms in the 50s for like, especially not for no black women to be like relaxing and being like, what do I need? And like even I just also want to just like acknowledge that privilege of us even being able to eat the kind of food that we eat. Like I think about the fact that I'm like plant-based. It's a very expensive lifestyle. Going to the gym costs money. So I just want to like, I guess pay homage to like, even though they weren't able to do that, they have made it so that we are able to do that. And I just want to acknowledge that, you know, because they weren't able to. But now we can, and we can set a new standard for our families and generations to like start creating more healthy patterns. It's not just about your appearance, but really taking care of your whole self so that your whole family can be healthy and so that you can fulfill what God has called you to do. Because how you going to do that if you're sick and you can't walk because you didn't eat well? Yeah. So just wanted to, you know, make those distinctions.
No, that was good.
Yeah. Okay. What's next?
What's next? We're talking about, you should probably. You ought to have one about encouragement. Maybe?
Okay. Now that we've talked about bodies from a lot of different angles, like, I don't know, what encouragement or insights do you want to share with somebody who might be going through this, but also maybe specifically like struggling with how they're seeing themselves in this season of their lives?
I mean, the struggling with how you see yourself. I think recognizing that like it takes time to figure out what works for your own body. It takes time to just figure out, like, I call it like cracking the code on your body. But it's like something that you'll have to constantly assess and adjust. Like what worked for me in my early 20s was like crazy hit, and I was like, I was like doing all kinds of flipping tires and kickboxing, and I was doing all these things that like now in these early 30s, my knees are like...
Your knees would.
Baby. Would. And so, like, now I'm like, okay, now we're becoming a little bit more of a Pilates girly. We need to do a little bit more, like, low-impact, body weight-based strength. And so being okay with adjusting and trying new things in order to find what it is that works for you. I think also just, like, spending time reflecting on, like, okay, seeking God on what it is that your body or like health practices should look like. Some of the practices that I've decided to pursue were not incited by me. Like the choice to be sober, Dorian wouldn't necessarily have made that choice because I like to turn up. So, but that was like...
Not looking at the camera.
I do enjoy a good turn up.
You do. Your wedding was proof.
And so, but that choice to be like, okay, I'm not drinking anymore was because I came to God kind of about like, hey, from a health perspective, I feel like I'm not my best self. Like, what's that about? And allowing him to reveal new things to me. Like, hey, you may need to make some different choices. And recognizing that the choices that you may need to make for your own life will look different than the choices that other people have to make for your life. And so, again, going back to that comparison piece, it's like you can't be holding your life up against someone else's, because you may be called to different things in order for you to live your most healthy, and whole life. And so being okay with the sacrifices that may come along the way too. So I would say too, if you're a person struggling with like the decisions that you may need to make, that might be some of the harder decisions, like you really have to seek God on that, because it is not by my own strength that I'm able to say no to things, but truly like trusting God for that plan for my life, and knowing that he will like give me the strength to be able to continue on that path too.
That's good. You know, one thing we didn't talk about, but we've talked about on and off through all of our seasons, sleep.
Yeah.
We don't talk about sleep enough when we think about our bodies, what it means to be healthy. So I think that's also like a place that people can start. If you're like, I don't really know where to start.
Yeah, that's
sleep
good.
I think it's hard. I don't want to underestimate how hard it is. But figuring out how much sleep your body needs to be at your optimal, like to be at your best, is, I think, like a tangible place a lot of people can start. And we don't talk about how much that sleep is vital.
Yeah, I'm reading this book, Essentialism, and it actually talks about how some of the most productive entrepreneurs, professionals, etc., credit their success to sleep.
Really?
Yeah, and it talks about like there's a lot of data that shows how sleep helps to repair your brain, how it helps with cognitive thinking, decision making, and like you can tell yourself that you're someone who functions or thrives like I only need 4 or I only need 5, but like it's scientifically proven that you really should be pushing for that 8. Like, yeah. It really is.
I didn't know you were going to say that.
I know. And it's kind of crazy.
7 and some change.
And they say, too, that, like, there was one fact in the book that I thought was so interesting. It was, like, pulling an all-nighter where you go, like, 24 hours without sleep, or consistently in a week only get, like, 4 to 5 hours is the same as having the blood alcohol content level of being drunk. Like, what you would be arrested for on the road.
That's why I'd be out of my mind when I'm sleepy. I'm like, I cannot even, think straight.
If you blew into a breathalyzer and they were like, you're over, we need to arrest you, it would be the equivalent of, like, staying up 24 hours. Like, the way that your brain is functioning and, like, how you're showing up in the world. And I was so fascinated by that. I was like, oh, we actually, like not sleeping makes you crazy.
And let me bring it back to God. Because he knows that about our body, which is why he told us to take the Sabbath.
That's why
another place to start.
It's built into
He's
the
like,
system.
I know, I made the body. I designed the body. I know everything about it. That's why you need to get your sleep. Not just at night, but to have a place of rest when you're reflecting.
Mental rest.
Yeah, like letting your body rest and letting him do the work. Like he knows our body, you know? So I think that's even more reason for us to go to him.
Yeah.
Because he knows all of our bodies, because he created the human body.
Yeah.
But he knows your specific body and what you need. So why wouldn't I go to the maker to help with the model that he created?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. That's good.
What are my insights?
Yeah. How you gonna encourage the people?
Let's see. I think celebrate what your body can do and not just grieve what your body can't do anymore. I mean, grieve it. Because I used to run a lot and I really enjoyed it. I ran since I was like in elementary school. I ran cross country in elementary school. But my knees said, not no more.
Not I, said the cat.
They said, I wish you would. I left Dorian's wedding. I had to fuss the DJ. I said, sir, we are walking out of here in pain because we all in our 30s. We was holding our backs, our knees. I got text messages the next day.
Esther was hurt for 2 days. She said, my knees still kind of hurt.
We were moving like we were in our 20s. We weren't. But I think there's something to be said about like, all right, it's disappointing when your body can't do. And that's not even just talking about if you have a sickness or an illness. Like it is really challenging when your body can't do the things that you want it to do because you can't control that.
Yeah.
And so I just want to give people permission to like grieve that because it is disappointing, especially if you're facing like some kind of chronic illness. Like that is so challenging. And I think after you grieve and bring it to God, exploring, okay, what can I do with my body? And how do I enjoy my body for me?
Yeah.
Not just so that I can look good on Instagram, not just so my waist can be snatched, but like ultimately I want to steward my body because it's a temple and I want to love my body well because God has called me to, and he was really thoughtful with my design. And so how can I love my body well, treat my body well for me, and so that I can be in the best shape I can be in to do what he's called me to do. Because that's what I care about.
It always comes back to purpose.
I want to do what he's called me to do. And if that means I got to make some sacrifices and go to bed early, we're working on that. But I am getting 7.5 hours of sleep. I'm getting that sleep no matter what.
That's good.
If it means sleep, if it means working out, I'm doing it. Again, not just for the physical results are great.
Yeah.
But ultimately, I want to be a healthy and whole individual so I can do what he's called me to do.
That's good.
That's what matters to me.
That's good.
Yeah.
Love it. This was a really good episode. I really enjoyed it. Went in a lot of different directions.
We did. We took a lot of angles. Look at us. I hope they feel the same. But if y'all don't, well, it don't matter. Because we had a good time.
That's right.
I mean, I hope you did, but I had a good time. My best friend, so
we win.
Yeah, go ahead. Pulse check. What
All
you
right.
got? What's your
question? Every episode we're doing a little pulse check question.
Yes, ma'am.
So y'all get a little taste of the game. And this episode, our question today is: what is a newfound belief you have about yourself?
I think just in therapy, talking about like what it means to survive and be resilient. And I think what I discover is that I've been far more resilient than I thought. I thought resilience is just you make it through.
Yeah.
But there's a level of resilience when the core of who I am has been maintained and that God has protected like my very essence.
That's really good.
That is a level of resilience. Like I've always been somebody who's been justice oriented, cared about people, loved people. But there's been so many situations, particularly in my childhood, that I think honestly the enemy sent to try to like destroy that heart and that love for people and that desire to like serve and be with people.
Yeah.
But I think the fact that I have been resilient and maintained that love for people and that heart and that tenderness, and God has protected me and allowed me to do that, like that is something worth celebrating. So like I have been resilient, not just because I've survived, but because I continue to move forward and continue to like love people and be tenderhearted. So that's a newfound belief.
That's sweet.
Yeah, I cried.
Love that.
That was a sobbing therapy session.
That is really beautiful.
Thank you, girl.
Oh my. Resilient. I love that. Well, my newfound belief is that I'm a runner.
I love that, Dorian.
And I was just thinking about like how oftentimes we will define ourselves based off of other people's definition of what that thing means. And somehow I convinced myself that like to be a runner, you need to run marathons and you need to like do long distances, or your body needs to look a certain way. And it's actually like, no, it's the fact that I get up, I lace my sneakers up like the next person, and I get out there and I hit my little 1-2. And so I am a runner as well. And so just choosing to not be defined by other people's perception of a thing, but to define it based off of what it means to me, and to be confident and excited in that. So that's
come a long way, baby. You are a runner.
I'm a runner.
That girl be running. Okay? She be running. All right, we wrapping it, y'all. It's been great having y'all today. If you want, feel free to share that question with a friend. We would love for y'all to ask somebody in your circle and see how they respond, and then also share your answer with someone else. You can also make sure to purchase your Pulse Check deck at the link in our bio. You can support our Kickstarter. And then, of course, you can share this episode with someone. If this was encouraging for you as it relates to body, then we know it'll be encouraging for someone else. So make sure you share. Yep. And if you want some additional reflections, some more thoughts, we do have a free newsletter. We send out about 2 a month. So you can also just click the info in the description below and sign up to get our newsletter. Yay. Well, as always, we appreciate y'all. Thank you for the support. We love you so much. Stay rooted.
Bye, y'all.